Tony Soprano doesn't earn money, he extracts it. Every dollar that moves through North Jersey moves through a layer of control, waste routes, union hands, gambling slips, interest payments. It's not random crime, it's structured revenue. And if you follow the structure, you can model the money. This is how the machine actually pays him. On paper, Tony is a waste management consultant. In reality, he's the clearinghouse. Bookmaking cash flows upward. Loan interest compounds weekly. Construction contracts get inflated. Union jobs exist on payroll but not on site. Every crew kicks up. Every envelope climbs the ladder. And at the top, Tony takes his percentage, not of effort, but of structure. The key isn't how much crime happens, it's how much of it is organized. If one crew moves $250,000 a week in gambling, Tony doesn't touch the slips. He touches the tribute. 10 to 20% flows upward. Multiply that across multiple crews, multiple rackets, multiple seasons. Now you're not looking at street money. You're looking at executive revenue. But gross revenue isn't personal wealth. Before Tony sees a dollar, the system eats first. Soldiers get their cut. Capos skim theirs. Legal defense funds sit on standby. Payments go to New York. Protection isn't free, even for the boss. What's left isn't monopoly money. It's controlled liquidity in a violent economy. So the real question isn't how rich is Tony, it's how much does the machine produce, because Tony isn't a salary earner, he's a percentage holder. And percentage holders don't chase deals, they tax them. Now we break it down. If you respect structured breakdowns like this, hit like so the algorithm keeps pushing them. Subscribe if you want the full financial anatomy of power, not just the surface story. And comment which character's money machine we should model next. Part 1, the front. Tony's public money starts with sanitation. Barone sanitation isn't glamorous, it's steady. Municipal hauling contracts in North Jersey could asylee total $8 to $12 million annually in gross revenue. Tony doesn't own all of it, but he controls influence. Even a 2 to 5% skim or consulting arrangement generates $200,000 to $600,000 a year. Not explosive, but defensible. Then there's construction. Union leverage means inflated bids. If a mid-sized project runs $10 million and materials are padded by 5%, that's $500,000 in artificial margin. Split across contractors and capos, Tony's quiet take might be 10 to 15% of that bump. One project won't change his life. 5 projects a year? Now you're clearing serious structured cash. No-show jobs are quieter but consistent. A union position paying $60,000 annually that requires no labor becomes pure extraction. If 10 of those exist across different sites, that's $600,000 in salary flowing through names tied to the family. Tony doesn't pocket all of it, but he controls who gets paid, and control over payroll is leverage. Real estate flips add another layer. Distressed properties get pressured sales. Zoning approvals move faster with the right phone call. If a property is bought at $800,000 and resold at $1.1 million after facilitation, that $300,000 spread isn't accidental. Tony's share might be 10 to 20%. He profits from access, not labor. Waste hauling routes create something even more valuable than revenue, territory. If a route produces $1 million annually in contracts, controlling who wins the bid means controlling who survives. Even a modest 3% quiet payment from multiple route stacks quickly. It's not flashy money, it's recurring. And recurring money builds insulation. Consulting fees make it look clean. A waste management consultant billing $10,000 a month across multiple entities brings in $120,000 per contract annually. Multiply that across 3 or 4 aligned businesses, and you're approaching $500,000 in declared income. It's paperwork money. And paperwork keeps indictments complicated. Union pension manipulation is quieter still. Control the fund trustees, influence investment decisions, and steer contracts toward friendly firms. A 1 to 2% kickback on multi-million-dollar pension allocations can quietly generate 6 figures per move. Tony doesn't manage the trades. He manages the gatekeepers. And gatekeepers always get paid. Executive card games blur the line between front and racket. A high-stakes game might move $500,000 in a single night. With a 5% house rake, that's $25,000 immediately off the top. Post 2 of those a month and you're looking at $600,000 annually in gross rake before distribution. It's private entertainment, but it prints liquidity. Vendor pressure is subtle leverage. A supplier wanting access to construction contracts might quietly agree to a 3 to 7% thank you on bulk materials. On $2 million in annual supply volume, even a 5% side payment yields $100,000. No threats, no headlines, just controlled access. And access has a price. Add it up. Sanitation influence, union leverage, no-show jobs, consulting fees, construction padding, card game rake. Conservatively, the visible layer alone could generate $1.50 to $3 million annually in controlled revenue streams. And that's before we touch the real engine. Part 2, the cash. Bookmaking is the backbone. If one crew handles $250,000 a week in bets during football season with a 10% hold, that's $25,000 weekly. Over a 20-week heavy cycle, that's $500,000 in gross margin from one crew. Multiply that across multiple crews and multiple sports seasons. Now you're in seven figures. Loan sharking compounds faster. If $2 million is circulating at a conservative 2% weekly VIG, that's $40,000 per week in interest alone. Stretch that across a year and you're north of $2 million in gross returns, assuming collections hold. This isn't one-time revenue. It's a pressure-based subscription model. Executive games scale the margins. A $1 million poker night with a 5% rake yields $50,000 immediately. If the house also floats short-term credit to players at interest, the real yield climbs higher. Host 2 high-stakes games a month and you're clearing well over $1 million annually in combined rake and interest. Low inventory. High velocity. Hijacking adds irregular bursts. If a tractor-trailer worth $800,000 in electronics is diverted and fenced at 50% of retail, that's $400,000 gross. After paying crews and middlemen maybe $150,000, $200,000 clears. It's not weekly income, it's opportunistic spikes. High risk. Fast liquidity. Hood and fraud schemes stretch the margins further. Inflate a renovation contract by $1 million. Skim 10% quietly through shell vendors. That's $100,000 extracted without touching a betting slip or a loan ledger. Do that across multiple developments and you create layered cash. Paper trail buried inside paperwork. Sports seasons stack on top of each other. Football feeds fall. Basketball feeds winter. Baseball feeds summer. If betting volume averages $150,000 a week across slow months and spikes to $300,000 during peak cycles, the annual blended hold could approach $1.50, $2 million per crew. It's calendar-based liquidity. Collection penalties make it worse. Miss a payment on a $50,000 gambling debt and the VIG compounds. At 3% weekly, that's $1,500 added every 7 days. In a month, you're $6,000 deeper without touching principal. Multiply that across multiple debtors and the interest alone becomes a revenue stream. Pressure creates yield. Credit floating inside card games becomes secondary profit. The house extends short-term credit at weekly interests. Even at 2%, that's $1,600 per week until paid. Now the game isn't just rake, it's recurring leverage layered on top of loss. Protection payments add another stream. A strip club, a construction subcontractor, a small business owner, each paying $5,000 to $10,000 a month for peace. 10 businesses at $7,500 monthly equals $75,000 per month. Just control. Add the engine together. Bookmaking, loan sharking, executive games, fraud padding, protection streams, occasional hijack spikes. Conservatively, the cash layer alone could generate $7 million annually in gross flow across the family. But gross isn't take-home. Now we climb. Part 3, the split. Every dollar doesn't go to Tony, it moves up the ladder. Associate earns, soldier collects. Capo skims. Boss receives tribute. New York takes its cut. If a crew generates $1 million in net flow, the soldier might keep 40 to 50%. The capo takes 10 to 20%. Tony's slice may only be 10 to 20% after internal distribution. Power isn't ownership, it's percentage. If 5 crews each clear $1 million net annually, that's $5 million inside the family structure. If Tony's effective cut averages 15%, his direct annual intake lands around $750,000 from tribute alone. Add New York's demands on top. Now you see the tension. The boss earns from everyone, but he pays upward too. Then there's overhead, legal retainers, defense attorneys, bail funds, emergency envelopes for arrests. If legal exposure costs $500,000 to $1 million annually across the family, that money doesn't disappear. It comes out of the flow before anyone upgrades their house. Protection isn't free, even at the top. Lifestyle eats too: a large suburban home, luxury vehicles, private schooling, cash gifts to maintain loyalty. If Tony's visible lifestyle runs $400,000 to $600,000 a year, that's declared and undeclared money leaving constantly. The boss has to look successful, but not too successful. Visibility is both status and liability. Then comes New York. Tribute isn't optional. If North Jersey clears $5 million net and New York demands even 5 to 10% on certain operations, that's another $250,000 to $500,000 leaving the table. The boss of a smaller family answers upward. Power flows both directions, and every percentage reduces take-home. Discipline costs money too. If a soldier gets arrested and can't earn, envelopes still need to reach his family. Loyalty is funded. If 5 households receive $5,000 monthly support, that's $300,000 annually in retention expenses. The machine protects its own, but protection drains margin. Then there's shrinkage, unpaid debts, bad collections, seized assets, internal theft. If even 5% of gross flow disappears through failure or enforcement, on a $6 million engine, that's $300,000 gone before tribute is calculated. Not every envelope reaches the top. Risk erodes profit. Cash isn't salary, it's uneven. Some months spike to $500,000 in tribute, others stall under investigations or slow seasons. Tony's liquidity swings with enforcement pressure and internal stability. That volatility matters. You can clear millions annually and still feel exposed. When you model everything: tribute, overhead, New York's cut, legal burn, lifestyle, shrinkage, Tony's realistic personal annual take might land between $2 and $4 million in strong years. Not billionaire money, but high liquidity, higher risk executive cash. Enough to dominate, enough to be hunted. So what is Tony really? Not a CEO, not a street thug? He's a percentage holder inside a violent revenue network. The engine might move $6 to $10 million a year across rackets and fronts. After tribute, splits, overhead, and erosion, he walks with a fraction. But that fraction buys control. And control is the real currency. Tony Soprano doesn't build wealth. He builds flow. Every racket feeds upward. Every envelope climbs the ladder. And at the top, he taxes motion. Not labor, not product. Motion. That's the difference between earning money and controlling it. But flow has gravity, and gravity always pulls back. The more the engine produces, the more pressure it attracts. Cash creates noise. Noise draws attention. Attention invites enforcement. A $2 million a year might feel like dominance. But in a structure built on tribute and extraction, scale increases exposure. Growth isn't safety, it's amplification. And that's the paradox. Every dollar requires loyalty. Every loyalty requires funding. Every funded man carries risk. The boss sits highest. Money isn't the goal, control is. And control comes from taxing, movement, bids, bets, routes, contracts, debts. Tony doesn't chase transactions. He positions himself above them. But the higher you position yourself, the more eyes turn upward. And upward is where the spotlight burns. So if you're asking how Tony makes his money, you're asking the wrong question. The real question is how the structure feeds him. Because he doesn't hustle, he levies. And levies only work as long as the system believes in them. When belief cracks, the engine stops, and the boss stands alone. If this breakdown made sense, let me know in the comments. Like the video if you want more structured financial models like this. And subscribe if you're here for power systems, not headlines. Next time we'll dissect another machine and follow the money again.